Let me tell you a story, one that starts on a Tuesday morning so cold, the air cut right through every layer I had on. You ever stand on your porch, see two cops making their way up your icy steps, and hear some woman 3 houses down screeching about community standards? I sure hadn't, at least not until that day. Name's Quentin Xavier. And honestly, when I moved to Riverside, Colorado, 4 months before, I thought I was leaving chaos behind, not walking right into it. See, Riverside's this spot 20 miles out from Denver, close enough for the snow, far enough for the quiet. I bought my house in October, a 3-bedroom ranch that needed some work, but hell, who doesn't? The price was right, and after years of bleeding money on rent in Chicago, all I wanted was something I could finally call mine. I figured I'd landed somewhere calm. Streets with big old trees. Families, retirees, kids on bikes, just a plain old neighborhood. But here's where it gets interesting. My property sits at the dead end of Pinewood Drive, right where the road gives up and the county land begins. My place never technically part of the Pinewood Springs Homeowners Association. Surveying mistake back in the 80s, apparently my deed is crystal clear. Not an HOA member, not subject to their rules. And let me tell you, after the horror stories I'd heard from buddies in HOAs, people getting fined for mailbox colors or having the wrong flowers in the yard, I was thrilled to dodge that bullet. I keep my place neat because, well, it's my house. First snow in November, just a dusting, no big deal. I shovel my own driveway. Mid-December, we get walloped with a foot. I'm out there with my snowblower enjoying the workout when a silver Lexus pulls up and out steps Karen Emerson. You already know the type before I describe her mid-40s haircut and that severe angled bob sunglasses way too big for the overcast sky, North Face jacket so puffy you'd think she was off to Everest. She introduces herself, president of the HOA, welcomes me, and then, without missing a beat, starts talking snow removal policy. All driveways and walks cleared within 12 hours, pay your dues, yada yada. I tell her straight, not in the HOA, never was, never will be. Her smile gets tight and she asks for proof. I tell her to check with the county. She doesn't like that one bit. A couple days later, I get a letter, official HOA letterhead, Karen's signature and all. Claims I owe $950 for snow removal plus a $50 late fee. Threatens legal action if I don't pay. Now, I might be new, but I'm not dumb, so I call my real estate attorney, Patricia. She actually laughs. Send them your deed highlighted and they'll back off. So I do certified mail and all. But Karen's got grit, the bad kind. A week later, she sends another letter, personal this time. Now she's reviewed my documents and decided there must be an error. She demands dues, late fees, and says the board voted to pursue legal action. Patricia says this is straight up harassment, advises me to send everything through her, tell them to back off. I do, thinking that'll end it. It doesn't. Karen starts driving by slow, watching me shovel. I keep my property perfect, but she's looking for any slip. Then comes the mother of all storms. 2 feet of heavy snow. I'm out there at dawn, halfway done with my driveway, when Karen marches up, not even bothering with the sidewalk. She says loud as she can that I'm a public nuisance for not using the HOA service and threatens to call the cops. I tell her she's got no authority over me. She calls anyway. And so that's how I end up on my porch, frozen, tired cops approaching Karen, glowering from her window. The officers, Brennan and Martinez, listen to my side, ask if I'm clearing my driveway, which I am, and then head down to Karen's. She's gesturing, pointing, talking up a storm, but when the cops come back, they tell me this is a civil matter. City only cares about the sidewalk, not my driveway. I clear my walk. They leave. Karen's pissed. But Karen's got more up her sleeve. Next day, Patricia calls. The HOA now claims I'm trespassing on their private street and threatens to block my access. Turns out Pinewood Drive is public, maintained by the city. More empty threats. Weeks go by, but the letters get nastier. Now it's $1, $500 owed, talk of liens, lawsuits for damaging property values. My neighbors start icing me out. Even George, my old neighbor, says just pay to keep the peace. Karen never lets things go. But if I cave now, it'll never end. Then comes the late February snow. I'm clearing my walk. Karen drives by, hurls insults about being a parasite, accuses me of forging my deed. Patricia's had enough, sends a cease and desist for harassment and defamation. For about a week, nothing happens. I start to hope it's over. Nope. Come home to an orange code violation sticker, snow not removed, city threatens fines. Only my walk is clear and nobody inspected. Patricia files a public records request. Turns out Karen filed the complaint her cell phone on the record, filing false complaints. That's illegal. Patricia sends another letter, city gets involved. And that's when it gets ugly. Mailbox smashed, trash dumped on my lawn tires, popped by nails. I report it all, but nothing sticks. Cameras go up. Harassment stops almost. Then a summons. The HOA sues me for $8,000 dues, fees, damages. Patricia is furious. This is a slap suit. They're trying to bleed you dry to force a settlement. We counterclaim for harassment and abuse. Discovery shows the HOA has no case, no proof, no damages, no leg to stand on. All they have is bluster and Karen's vendetta. Meanwhile, our side has everything: records, letters, proof of harassment, the false complaint, the mailbox, the accusation of forgery. Right before the hearing, the HOA folds. Offers to settle covers, all my costs drops. The lawsuit acknowledges I'm not in the HOA and agrees to leave me alone. Patricia advises to take the deal, no sense in dragging it out just for vengeance. I do. The judge signs off. Karen can't even meet my eyes. I cash the check. The neighborhood goes quiet. Karen vanishes, at least from my life. A year after I moved in, George calls. Heard the news, Karen and the whole board resigned. New elections, maybe real changes. I hear whispers of audits. Turns out Karen spent tens of thousands of HOA money on lawyers and get this private investigators to prove I was lying. She even tried getting the original developer to change their story. He refused. A couple months later, I see Rebecca, the new treasurer. She apologizes, tells me they're pursuing legal action against the old board over $40,000 missing. Then I see the headline, former HOA president charged with embezzlement. Karen and her cronies get arrested, face trial, forced to pay restitution, and banned from HOAs. The new board slashes dues, ends the harassment, and actually invites me, the non-member, to neighborhood events. Most of my neighbors turn out to be decent people just caught in the crossfire. With Karen gone, the air changes. Real community returns. Late spring. Emma, my girlfriend who moved in after the dust settled, asks if I regret buying the house. And despite everything, the stress, the lawyer bills, the months I dreaded my own mailbox, I say no. This is my home, my life, my rules, and no HOA bully, no matter how determined, can take that away. Sunsets on Pinewood Drive, laughter and music drifting down the block, grills, smoke curling above the rooftops. This is what I fought for. Not just peace, but the principle. Sometimes you've got to stand up even when it'd be easier to just write a check and keep quiet. That's what I learned. If you don't defend your rights, nobody else will. Justice, real, satisfying. Justice finally came around. Karen faced the music, the neighborhood healed, and I still get to sit on my porch, watch the seasons turn, and know that victory isn't always about winning big. Sometimes it's just holding your ground and coming out the other side whole. But let me throw a question your way. Where's the line between community and control? When does enforcing standards become plain old bullying? Drop your thoughts below, or tell me about a time you had to fight for what was right, even when it would have been easier to let it slide. I want to hear your stories.
Cảm ơn các bạn đã xem video. Cảm ơn các bạn đã xem video.